Πάνω, καταφέραμε μια ακόμα ωραία συνέντευξη με τον κύριο Γκίστ, όπως καταλαβαίνεις.
Νομίζω ότι δεν έχω πάρα πολλά να πω εγώ και να προσθέσω. Ο κόσμος βλέπει κατευθείαν ότι αυτή τη φορά δεν είμαστε δύο, είμαστε τρεις. Μπορείς να προχωρήσεις κατευθείαν στις συστάσεις, νομίζω.
Hello, James. It's an honor to meet you, sir. Thank you that you're here. Are you ready for some tough questions?
I'm always ready for some tough questions, man. Thank you for having me.
Okay, let's go there.
You know we don't play, stay out the way. Check out this look on my face. I'll come save the day. Give me my cape. Look at I'm flying away. Five-star cream of the crop. Go and make spot. Go and put the cherry on top. This one can't be stopped. Giving them shock. It's really like that. Don't believe me, just watch.
You know, we did an interview, James, with Chris Singleton, and he told me something about you. You're trying to be a coach or something like that?
Yeah, I'm trying to transition into coaching right now. I'm at the point where I've retired from playing basketball. I still have gas in the tank to want to play. I still have a lot of love for the game. But over the last couple of seasons, I've realized that, you know, my love for the game has always been at a standard of winning championships or like trying to win. You know, playing at a high standard for so long, you know, after being drafted by San Antonio, even playing in college under Gary Williams, and playing at Panathinaikos so many years, playing in Partizan, you know, even, you know, the teams that I played with, Fenerbahce, Munich. These teams, you know, were built on winning championships. And it's like you practice your preparation, everything for it goes into it is to win a championship. And the last couple of seasons, I kind of got away from that and the teams that I was playing with. And I realized that I have more patience to teach the game than I do to play the game right now. And so I think that it's just for me to step away from the game and try to approach it from a different angle is something that it's like a destiny thing. You know, I've been wanting to coach for years, but now that I'm done playing, I actually get to step into it. And so the last few months, it's been a journey trying to figure it out, but I'm starting to, you know, figure it out. It's starting to figure it out.
I will take you back in time. We'll go a little bit back. In 2012, this year, you were officially the first trade of EuroLeague. You used to play for Malaga, and you took the decision to go to Panathinaikos. First of all, what was the key factor about this?
I mean, it wasn't my decision. I had absolutely nothing to do with this decision. I didn't even know I was getting traded.
So it was kind of NBA stuff, right? They
essentially, yeah. Essentially, yeah. I mean, you got guys that play NBA games and they find out right before the game that they got traded. And mind you, they'll be in warm-ups. Or they'll be doing the starting lineup, you know, singing the Star Spangled Banner. Who knows? And you gotta come off the court, you know. You just got traded. And as players, we never get that. You never get that warning. You never get that. Sometimes it just happens. Sometimes you do. Sometimes, you know, where there's smoke, there's fire. And you hear, you know, rustlings or you hear rumors and things like that. But in that situation, I wasn't aware of any of it. And at the time, I mean, social media wasn't really as big as it is now either. It's definitely getting bigger. But after our last game, I think it was at the first round, we played Chalon, maybe it was, or Cholet. It was a team from France, and I was in Malaga. And a reporter asked me, is this my last game in a Malaga jersey? Mind you, I might have just had 18 points. You know, we won by like 25, 30 points. We're number one in EuroLeague right now, tied with Maccabi. So in my mind, why would I even be thinking about to get traded out of here? We have a really good team, playing with Marcus Williams as a point guard. We had Bruno Simone, who ended up going to Ephes later on, got 2 championships back to back. We had Fran Vasquez, who was drafted, you know, lottery pick to the NBA, you know, still played there. Harold Callaway, who was really good in the ACB, had a really good career. We had a lot of pieces, man. We had a lot of pieces. And so I didn't think it was possible that I was getting traded. Even when the reporter asked me, I was just like, I don't know what you're talking about. You got to ask the team that. That's not a conversation I would have, and I definitely wouldn't say that. You know, I'm getting ready for ACB coming up on Saturday or Sunday. And then my agent told me, yeah, it's real. You're getting traded to Panathinaikos, and you got to be out there in like 2 days. And so this is during the Christmas break, right before Christmas. Me and my wife, we had our dog there. But I mean, you talk about packing up a house. We had like 18 hours to pack up a whole house, get everything going, and go to a whole new country. And didn't know what to expect. Didn't know what to expect. It was crazy. It was crazy because living in Malaga, you're on the water. You know, I could see Morocco on a clear day. Clear day, I could see Morocco from where I was, and that was dope. You know, and I mean, just the playing in the ACB, I felt like I was in the top league in Europe at the time. I mean, it still is the top league, I think. But I didn't think I was in a position where a team wasn't satisfied with my play. That makes sense. I wasn't ready for that. So when that happened, it just, you talk about mind, you know, mess with your mind. That's a mind game right there.
You spoke about all the pieces of the team. You didn't spoke about the coach. Was there any problem with you and Yasmin Repesa?
I
Rumors said
didn't
that
have a
you
pro-
had.
I didn't have a problem with him personally. I've never had a problem with the coach in my career. Me personally, never had a problem with a coach in my career. I just always been one that was taught to listen and learn. You know, my dad was military. I grew up in a military family. So, you know, just certain things about respect and all of that just comes up. You know, I've always respected elders. I've always respected people with power, people in a position of authority. Never had any type of reason to give issues or to seem uncoachable. I feel like, and I don't know this for a fact, but for me, I just feel like I wasn't his first option. I feel like I wasn't his choice. We all had the same agency representation. It was Yasmin Rapessa and me and like 5 other players on the team that were represented by Bill Duffy at the time, BDA agency. And so I think it was kind of, and me and Marcus Williams, we had a relationship, like as far as playing on the court together, because when he was in the NBA and I got drafted to the Spurs, you know, we played together over the summertime at some of the camps. You know, it was just it was a really good point guard, and I gelled nice with that. And so when I had the opportunity to choose between where I wanted to play that season, and I had the option to go to Malaga, and I knew Marcus was there, I was like, I'm going there. But I don't think I was Rapessa's first option. And so from the time that I got there, I don't think that anything I did, he was pleased with. You know, we had run-ins, we had issues that maybe he felt like there were some things I was doing or wasn't doing. But for me, you know, I was naive to a lot of what people maybe thought about me at the time, you know, because I really just came out there with good energy, good feeling. I wanted to play to win. It didn't matter who we were playing. It didn't matter where we were at. I just wanted to play to win. But for me, I just don't think that I was his choice. I don't think I was his option. And so for that, he always had it out for me. I kept my composure. I always stayed professional, but I don't know. That's a question that you guys would really have to ask him. I really can't answer it. I really can't answer why we had a fallout. I can't answer that. I wish we never did because we had a great team. I really think we could have did something crazy. Not taking away the years that I had at Panathinaikos, because it ended up being something special. It ended up being something great. You know, I was able to accomplish a lot while I was in Panathinaikos. But why couldn't I have stayed in Malaga? You know, I can't answer that question.
So, like, you left Malaga and you end up in Greece with a Greek last name. You end up
I think it was
like
kind of, it was adopted. It was adopted. It was adopted. You know, once you live in Greece and you live among the Greeks, you just start to, you know, when in Rome, you do as the Romans do, right? So it was in Greek. It was in Greece. You adopt the tradition. You adopt the culture. You learn to just enjoy where you are. You know, that's one thing that I always say to people who are thinking about coming overseas to play, because a lot of people don't know, especially Americans. A lot of Americans don't know, you know, what's portrayed and what's pushed out on the internet, you know, and things like that may be reasons that players are like, nah, I'd rather take my chances in the G League. Or I'd rather stay here and just try to keep, you know, trying my chances to get in the NBA. Overseas is a place where you can actually, you know, grow. You can, as a person, not only as a player, but you can grow and you can find a lot of different things. You can meet people, you experience different cultures, all the things that we learn about in the history books. Man, I got to see all of that in Greece. The Temple of Zeus, you know, I got to see the Acropolis every day. You drive by it like it's every day. And this stuff is, you talking about one of the most ancient civilizations, you know, one of the first civilizations, thousands of years old. America's new. People don't understand that. America's only a few hundred years old. But Greece, Turkey, you know, all these places over in Europe, you know, these are ancient civilizations, and you can actually learn some stuff from actually living that.
Except of that, how an American player like handles this atmosphere, the European atmosphere, about the fans. I mean, I know that we are kind of different than from America. We don't chant only defense. We do some certain stuff, especially Partizan and Panathinaikos, which I could say the best fan bases in European basketball.
I think it just goes to the type of player and person you are, and also like how you grew within your career. So when I say that, I played on some very highly ranked high school teams like AAU and high school. You know, we always had a good fan base. We had a good following. The DMV area, DC, Maryland, Virginia, you know, is a very popular area in the States when it comes to basketball. So we get a lot of support from basketball. Then I ended up going to the University of Maryland, which was one of the top schools in the country. We had a capacity of 18,000 people that could fill in our stadium. So, I mean, that's bigger than Oaxaca. This is in college. And to have that every night playing in high level rivalry games, you know, we played Maryland versus Duke, we played Maryland versus North Carolina, you played Maryland versus Wake Forest, you know, when Chris Paul was there. You had some of the biggest matchups and things of that nature. And so I got used to playing in front of that. I can't say that for everybody because everybody that comes from college or comes from high school doesn't have the opportunity to play in front of big crowds. So for me, I was used to it. I was used to playing in high stake games. I was used to playing in rivalry games. So going to Oaxaca, it was nothing but putting a battery in my back. All you did was change that battery and give me a new battery, and I was ready to go. Playing in Partizan, you know, playing in front of them, playing in Red Star, playing in Fenerbahce. You know, those I've had the opportunity to play in front of some great fans. Great fans. Even when I was in Italy, my first year with Biella, we were first division, but it wasn't a EuroLeague team. Our gym could only seat like 3,000, but that was 3,000 to capacity. Everybody was in there. You know, it was loud. When we played Milan, when we played Cantu, it was loud. So I never had an issue with playing in crazy gyms and crazy atmospheres. The harder gym to play in is when there's nobody there, when it's empty. You got like 20 people in the crowd. That's the hardest gym to play in. You know, how do you get excited? How do you get, you know, the energy and the motivation to play? I'll even take it a step further. The year that COVID happened and everybody, the fans couldn't go to the games, that year might have been one of the most difficult years as a basketball player. From psychological standpoint, physical standpoint, mental standpoint, all of that. It was probably one of the most difficult years to play because you didn't have the fans there. You didn't have that six man. You didn't have that energy. It was a team that had the loudest bench in the gym that could actually make something happen, you know? It was like that. So for those that come overseas, it's an experience that you can only experience in person. It's nothing you can really talk about.
You know, in the COVID time, the most meme videos about coaches in Europe yelling, they were made in this year because everybody was hearing. For example, Coach Ataman, don't talk, and throwing the.
Yes, you can hear everything. You got more technical fouls, you got more ejections, more all of this stuff because you can hear everything. You can hear everything the players were saying. You can hear everything the coaches were saying. You can hear everything. And I mean, this is the reality of it. But when you're in a gym where the noise is just drowned out like a Red Star, or Partizan, or like a Panathinaikos or a Žalgiris, you playing at gyms like that, man, you cannot have a conversation to the person next to you because you can't hear. It's extremely loud. And being in the game, you have to be able to just separate that, drown it out, and focus. You know, it got to the point to where you could be in a gym of 18, 20,000 people, and I don't hear it. I don't hear it. I'm just so focused on the game, focused on the next play, focused on the next action. You don't hear it.
James, as you mentioned, you played for so many clubs, very good clubs, historical clubs, but you played alongside some great teammates.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was Dimitris Diamantidis,
Mm-hmm.
who recently was voted as the best player of EuroLeague for the last 25 years. Can you describe your relationship with Diamantidis, on and off the court?
Mitraki, man, Mitraki. That's he's the OG. He's the real OG, man. And you know, my thing about Mitos is that as great as a player as he is, he's so humble, man. He's so humble. When you meet him, when you talk to him, he's nice. He's soft spoken. You know, he's open to talk and take pictures and things like this. He's not arrogant. He's not a Malaga, let's say. He's not this, you know. But he has every right to be that if he wanted to be. With his think of the things that he's accomplished, you know, and you come across a lot of people like this, and that's what you assume. But with a guy like him, is so humble. Like, this is why he is one of one, man. He's one of one. And to play with somebody like that, wasn't even a point guard. He wasn't even a point guard. But he was just so smart, and he understood the game, and he made the game so easy. When you played with Diamantidis, you didn't have to think. All you had to do was finish. He put you in a position to where you didn't have to do anything else but finish. You were in a position to score, and he made the game so much easier. And the fact that he played defense, I mean, you know, when I played in Partisan, I found out that I missed the Defensive Player of the Year award by 1 vote. And I got beat out by ΔΙΑΜΑΝΤΙΔΗ. This was back in 2010. I got beat out by ΔΙΑΜΑΝΤΙΔΗ. I had no idea who this guy was either. I was like, man, come on. I'm stopping everybody. I'm getting all the rebounds. I'm doing there's no way I didn't get Defensive Player that year. I found out I lost 1 vote. And then when I actually played with ΔΙΑΜΑΝΤΙΔΗ, I understood why. He did everything. And I played with ΔΙΑΜΑΝΤΙΔΗ in the later years of his career. I didn't play with him in his prime. He was still really good when I played with him. So I can only imagine how good he was when he was in his prime. You know, it was an honor to be able to play alongside somebody like that. You know, he's a real legend. A real legend. I know people call me a legend and say this, but no, ΔΙΑΜΑΝΤΙΔΗ is one of those.
You also made your own history in EuroLeague. Like I'm sure that you are a legend in EuroLeague, a legend of Panathinaikos. You are a part of the most hard times for Panathinaikos, and we are grateful that we met you and you were in our road and you helped us win championships, cups. Thank you for everything that you have done for Panathinaikos. But it's like when I hear you speak about Diamante, this is like hearing your buddy, your other half in Panathinaikos back then, the other bad boy, Stefan Lasme. He said almost the same things.
You got to understand, man. It's like you guys see ΔΙΑΜΑΝΤΙΔΗ from the outside. We see ΔΙΑΜΑΝΤΙΔΗ, you know, every day. You know, in the locker room, we see each other every day more than our own families. You know, so we were able to build a relationship. We were able to build a bond. You know, we were able to see each other's lows and highs, you know, during those 2-3 years that me, Steph, and ΔΙΑΜΑΝΤΙΔΗ were able to play together. But then also Mito and I played a year after I think Steph left. And that was Mito's final year. So I got 4 years with him, and that was in the later year of his career. He was special. He was special.
Last time, Mr. Stefan Lasme told us something like, me and James, we were the bad boys, like in and out court. I missed that. I missed this answer from Stefan, and I didn't ask him, what do you mean out the court? We were the bad boys. Do you have any funny story? And I missed that. Do you have anything about outside?
He actually said we did everything bad boys do.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you got to understand, it wasn't just a character. It wasn't like we were really energized. We were really like the energy that you saw on the court was pretty much the same energy you saw off the court. Like we had that attitude and we had that care about us. And the energy was that nobody could tell us anything. Nobody could tell us anything. No matter what we do, when that ball goes up at the beginning of the game, we're 100% locked in. Whether we're on the court, whether we're off the court, we're locked in. And coach never had to worry about us. ΔΙΑΜΑΝΤΙΔΗ never had to worry about us. Nobody ever had to worry about us. In the beginning, they questioned us. They're like, yo, you know, if we start losing games and stuff, they're going to blame y'all for losing these games. And our answer was, okay, we're just not going to lose then. Seriously. It said it just like that. Said it just like that. We're just not going to lose then. And that was during the Barcelona series. Yeah, we lost the Barcelona series, but we didn't lose the finals of the Greek League. Euro League champions were Olympiacos that year. That year we came in and we won 3-0, and they had home court advantage. When I say me and Steph really carried that energy and we really felt like that, we really felt like that. We didn't care what anybody thought. We were fined multiple times. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. We were gonna live our life. At the end of the day, we were gonna do the best that we could on the court, and the fans loved it. They understood us, and that's what it came down to. In our mind, you paid us to play. You didn't pay us to live our life. You paid us to play. Yeah, there's a certain image that you had to uphold, and there's some things that you learn as you get older and more experienced in the game. But there's a certain mentality that you have to uphold as well if you want to be that type of guy. And we was looked at as beasts. We was looked at as dogs on the court. We've had players come up to us and really tell us like, yo, we thought y'all were really crazy. We thought y'all were really crazy, but then you see us, you talk to us outside, we having a great time. We cool. We can have a drink afterwards. We can go to dinner, whatever, you know. But on the court, yeah, we were different. We were different. Everybody understood that. Everybody knew that. Nobody messed with us. Nobody on the team messed with us for the most part. Coach left us alone. He knew what he had. And we were that. What they say, I feel like for a long time they called us the Malakas of Europe. And it wasn't just me and Steph. It was me, Steph, Bramos, Masulis. Like we had Ukic. We had some real dogs on our team where when you left the game after playing Panathinaikos, you probably had like 3-4 bags of ice on. Shoulders, knees, hips, back, something. It was a dogfight every game.
Did you had one time? Do you remember one time that you and Stefan were somewhere, for example, and you said to him, Malaga, we are in trouble. Did you felt any time that it was really trouble time? That
Yeah, of course. And it's just at the end of the day, you know what you say? Bad boys. It is what it is. It is what it is.
okay.
We ride. You know, if you get in trouble, I get in trouble. If you late, I'm late. Cool. I might not even be late, but because he's late, I'll be late. It got to the point to where like everybody would ask me, "Hey James, where's Steph?" I don't know. I'm not with Steph. Hey Steph, where's James? I don't know. I'm not with James. Like they assumed that we were always together. They assumed that we were just tied at the hip. Like we're supposed to know everything that goes on with each other. No. But we held that facade of like, okay, Steph, I might hit him low. You good? Everything's okay. I'm running late. I'll be there in a minute. Okay, I got you. Yeah. My bad. I'm late. We used to cover for each other. Not only do we cover for each other like that, we cover for each other when you're on the court too. We playing switching defense. And it was like, man, you know, he get beat, I'm there. If I got beat, he's there. We got each other's back no matter what. You know, we built a brotherhood. And you talk about some of the best defenders to play the game at a EuroLeague level. I mean, Stefan lasme got Defensive Player of the Year. He's got a couple of trophies to be able to show that. You know, he was definitely one of those ones. ΔΙΑΜΑΝΤΙΔΗ was one of the ones. I don't have one, unfortunately, but I was one of those ones. You know, it was just one of those things. And we had that relationship.
Personal opinion, you deserve the Defensive Player of the Year. I think the first year when you were in Panathinaikos, maybe the second even more, I think you deserve to be Defensive Player of the Year. But that's what you spoke in the beginning, and you said you are trying to be a coach.
Yes.
Do you think that? Who do you think is the coach that influence your games the most? Like, and right now, what you're trying to accomplish, like you find yourself doing some stuff that you learned in Europe. From which coach?
I don't have one coach that influenced me to be a coach. As a player, every coach that I ever played for, I always took something from him. I always took something that I learned from him. Just like, think about it as a basketball player or somebody who's trying to learn how to be a professional or great at what they do. You kind of have people that you look up to, right? Or you just watch the game. You watch whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish or whatever it is that you're trying to master and be good at. You watch people and you take pieces from them. You take pieces from them. You take pieces from them, and then you start to formulate your own thing of what you feel like works, doesn't work. And for me, every coach I've had, Gary Williams at College Park, Maryland, who's a Hall of Fame coach. Greg Popovich for the San Antonio Spurs, who's a Hall of Fame coach. Xavi Pascual, who's going to be a Hall of Fame coach. Sasha Djordjevic, Hall of Fame player, who's going to be a Hall of Fame coach. Duško Ivanović, Hall of Fame coach. 100% he's going to go down as somebody who won. I got a chance to play for Rick Pitino for a year, who we all know played, coached NBA, coached college, coached everywhere, you know, Hall of Fame. I've had the opportunity, and Argyris Pegilakis, who doesn't get a lot of credit, he was probably one of the best coaches I had, honestly. Literally one of the best coaches I had, and he's up there with those type of names that I named, even though he doesn't get the type of credit he deserves. I've taken something from every coach that I played with, and I got to see what works. I got to see what doesn't work. I understand how to motivate a team. I understand what it takes to win. I understand it all. Like I got a blueprint. I have a real life blueprint. And for me, that's what it comes down to. And that's like motivation for me to want to teach even more. Because I've won at the highest levels. I've seen what it takes to get there. I've been coached hard by a lot of coaches. I've seen what happens when you let certain things go. I've seen what happens when you don't let things go. I've seen what happens when you're really detailed. I've seen what happens when you're kind of free flow. I've seen the good and the bad of it. And so for me, it's like playing 16 years now. I played 16 years professionally. I think it would be a sin. I'm a religious person. My beliefs and things like this, but I think it would be a sin for me not to get back the knowledge that I gained over these 16 years. Not to get back the knowledge of all this stuff. for people that are coming up in this next generation of players, because that's what it's about. We're talking about the next generation of players that's coming into play.
Think NBA coach, European coach, like college coach?
I would like to get to the highest level that I can make. My idea would be college or NBA, to start out. But if I can make my way overseas, man, EuroLeague, of course. I would never cut down any option or opportunity to coach. But for me, again, why I retired playing basketball was because the standard of what we were playing for didn't meet my standard. And my standard was trying to win a championship, at the highest level. And if that's not the case, and that's not motivation enough for me. So I want to be in a situation where we really want to win. I want to coach that.
James, as a player, you won championships, okay?
Mhm.
Many championships. Do you think that you missed the Final Four? Did you wanted to go to the Final Four so much, and you just said, "I didn't make it"? You were
Yeah,
very close. You were very close twice.
more than twice, man. 3 times. Twice in
3 times.
Panathinaikos.
Right. And
Once
one
in
time
Munich.
in Bayern, yes.
Yeah, one time in Munich, 3 times. It's frustrating, man. It happens. Yeah, definitely. For me, I've always been a player that's always looked in the mirror. I never look at anything else. I never look at anybody else, blame anybody else, or say anything. I say, what was it that I could have did more? Was there anything I could have did more? If there was something I could have did more, then I gotta look at myself before I look at anything else. Look at any situation or scenario that could have possibly been a reason. I just look at myself. I've always been that. So if I ever say anything to anybody else, or if I, have any issue with anybody else, I've already looked at myself and dissected that before I even got to this point. So, it's something that you think about. And I always put that pressure on myself to try to do better when I got back to that point, And the last one probably hurt the most when I was in Bayern, man, because we were right there. We were right there. We lost game 1 at the buzzer. I think it was Malcolm Delaney taking the ball out on the sideline, and they set a pick back screen for Lede, and he catches the alley-oop, tips the ball in, no time on the clock. And mind you, the play before that, we were down 1 point. I got fouled, drained 2 free throws, put us up 1. So they got to call a timeout last play. This is a Hail Mary type thing. In my mind, when I was shooting those free throws, I said, JG, we're going to the Final Four this year. This is your year. That's what I was telling myself on the free throw line. And so I made both of those, and I was just like, now we got to get to stop. And when we didn't get to stop, man, in game 1, I remember after the game, just my feeling and my emotion was so hot because I'd been through the playoffs for so many years, and I know that when you play in the playoffs, you got to win the games you're supposed to win. Every game is going to be different. No game is going to be the same. So when you have an opportunity to win, you got to win. And in that situation, we had a chance to win. Later down the road, we ended up going to game 5, lose game 5 by 1, 2 possessions. I think Kyle Hines got a big block off a Wade Baldwin at the end. Game over. Similar to when I was in Panathinaikos my first year. We lost to Barcelona, game 1. I got 2 free throws, got fouled, missed the first one, purposely missed the second one. Because I think we can get the rebound or something like that. But, you play these moments back in your mind when you come back to the same roadblock. And so to have reached a milestone 3 times and not be able to cross that path, and I know that we deserved it. The teams that I was on, we were really good, man. We deserved it. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to get there, man. Wasn't able to get there. But I feel like everything I went through as a player put me in position to go through as a coach. And so I can teach and I'll get there as a coach. So that's what my mindset is.
At the end, I think it's the small details.
Mhm.
I know that you were never coached by Coach Adaman, but as an opponent, how do you see his play style? How do you feel about his play style?
I've been playing against Ataman since I was in Turkey, playing with Fenerbahce. He was in Besiktas. And that was the year of the lockout. So Darren Williams came over. He was playing with them. And then after the NBA started back up, Carlos Arroyo was playing with them. And Carlos Arroyo, they had David Hawkins, who was a beast, defender and scorer from the 3 position. And then you had Pop Spencer-Bonsu in the paint, along with Ersek. Like, he had a team. Ataman, that's one thing I would give him credit for. He knows how to build a team. He knows how to build a team. Every team he's won with has been exceptional. From the guard position, he's always had guards. You know, he runs that pick and roll system very well. And then from a big position, he's always had a big that can clean up what the guards don't do. And that's been something that's worked. You know, for him, he's got the blueprint. Again, we talking about the blueprint, right? He's got the blueprint when it comes to winning. He won in Besiktas, got a Turkish Basketball League championship. He went to Galatasaray the next year, won with Galatasaray, Euro Cup with Galatasaray, went to Efes, 2 back-to-back EuroLeague championships, comes to PAL, EuroLeague championship. Like, come on, man. Whether you like it or not, there's just some things that you can't deny. You can't deny what he's done. Can't deny what he's done and the way he builds teams, you know, and the way he plays. He doesn't change the way he plays, and he doesn't change the way he builds his team. He pushes through his guards, and he has the bigs, and it works. It works. It works.
So the titles are credential for a coach or a player.
Yeah, I mean, everybody looks at that. They always say, well, how much did you win? They always say that when it comes down to it. You could break down the details and get in between the lines, but at the end of the day, it's the results, right? It's the results. That's what people always come down to. How much did you win? How many championships you got, you know? And when it comes down to it, that's a deciding factor in a lot of different things.
Did you watch any Panathinaikos game recently?
I don't watch the games through and through, only because of the time difference. It's hard, but I always go back and watch the recaps. You know, the breakdown of the game. So not the simple highlight. It's like 3 minutes. I'll go back and watch like the 9-10 minute highlight because I like to actually watch the game and see how teams gain the advantage. I like to see the momentum swings. I like to see all of that. So I watch games in that aspect.
Have you watched any Kendrick Nunn highlights?
Yeah, of course. Man, he's killing the league, man. He's killing the league. It seems like nobody can stop him. They don't have an answer for him.
Do you think that Nunn is the most dominant guard ever played in EuroLeague, or you think it's too early to speak about something like this?
It's too early. You got to have longevity. He's got timing right now. It's hot. He came in last year, mid-season, or after the season had started. And, I mean, what he's done, I mean, he shot, I think he didn't miss a free throw until like the last week of the season,
Right.
maybe. You know, he's shooting 90-something% from the free throw line. You look at all the stuff that he's doing, and you can't sit there and argue, you know, what he's doing and the numbers he's doing, but he's doing it in a small period of time. And so my only argument would be like, can he keep this up? Can he keep this up? I've always had that about players, especially from a defensive standpoint. I like to see players come over and kill, especially from the States. I like to see them come over and kill the competition. But doing it early on is one thing. Doing it once you made the scouting report and now you're the focal point of the team and everybody's trying to stop you, that's another thing. And a lot of players, they come in the first 3-4 weeks, oh, they're amazing. And now teams lock in on you. You're a part of the defensive scheme now, and all of a sudden they go from averaging 20 points to 11 points, or they might even throw in like 5 points, 3 points. Now you're like, oh, why aren't they scoring as much? Because now the defense is locked in on them. And so when you see a player like Kendrick Nunn or like a Mike James or like who's another player, the guy from Munich, Carson Edwards, another one who can really get off, you know, guys like that. Even Marcus Howard, the guy from Baskonia. When you're on the scouting report and a team is solely focused on you, and you can still go out there and get 25, 30 points, you're elite. You're elite.
Mm-hmm.
The team has done everything to try to stop you. They've done everything to try to stop you. Kendrick Nunn is still averaging 20 points. They've done everything to try to stop him. So to sit here and say, is he the best to ever do it? I don't know. But, I mean, he's elite at what he does. I didn't get a chance to play against him, so I don't know. But he's elite at what he does. The numbers show for it. The consistency shows for it. I think it's just now longevity because there's a lot of great players that have come through EuroLeague and to sit here and say he's the greatest ever and he hasn't had a full season yet. It's crazy.
The reason that I ask you for Kendrick Nunn is because you were also selected as NBA draft on the second round, okay, back in 2008, if I'm not wrong.
Right.
And there is a lot of discussion around Kendrick Nunn re-signing with Panathinaikos, his new contract and all this situation, or getting back to the NBA. My question to you is, how difficult is for someone from USA to let go of the NBA dream?
Man, at the end of the day, it's like, why are you playing? What are you playing for? What's your goal? What's your motivation? What's your reason? When you can answer that question, then you can answer everything else. Some players want to play to get to the NBA. They don't care about anything else. They just want the logo. They want to say, I play in the NBA. I am an NBA player. Some people really love the game of basketball. Some people really want to win. Some people really want to be that guy. Some people really love the lifestyle. Some people like the money, the cars, everything that comes with it. You know, the lights, the cameras. But they don't love basketball that much. So you have different motivations, different factors that people play basketball for. You start to see that the more you play professional sports. You don't really see it so much in college because, I mean, now it may be because players getting paid, but before when players weren't getting paid, you only have 4 or 5 years. And after that 4 or 5 years, you might not never pick up a basketball again. So the level of intensity and the level of commitment that you had as a college player was very high. But once you make it to professional sports and you get paid for it, now your motivation changes. So for a player that has made it to the highest level, basically getting drafted to the NBA, now coming overseas, experiencing the love and the culture of Greece and all the other countries that you played in, and understanding the level of basketball and how it's viewed in Europe as opposed to how it's viewed in the States, it doesn't become a question of how hard is it to decide. It becomes a question of what do you want? Do you want to go to the NBA? You're not going to be the star player. NBA teams already have their star player. You're the star player in Europe right now. You're the star player for a team that has an entire country backing you. You have a fan base that you built. Like, if you ever went to the NBA, it probably won't be like that again. I mean, just being honest, not saying he couldn't put up numbers, not saying he couldn't be a good player, but you're not going to get that kind of love. Let's be real. Not going to get that kind of love. There's no team in the States that loves their players that much, unless you're Steph Curry or LeBron James. So it's not that hard to make a decision. It's about what you want.
You know, I'm always thinking that. And I'm saying to myself, if I got a chance to speak to Kendrick Nunn or to you when you were playing to Panathinaikos and you were in the situation, I was like, my question would be like, I would rather to create legacy. Like when I'm hearing the kids playing basketball in Greece and saying, "Oh, James, take the balls, shoot the three, go," like they're imitating the players. For me, this is the most important thing, that you're creating a legacy that wasn't there before you came.
Right.
You know, when you
That's
were
true.
playing, I was hearing children and kids in the outcourts and playing basketball and saying, "Oh, I'm James and I'm Stefan," and somebody was ΔΙΑΜΑΝΤΙΔΗ and were trying to imitate that thing. You know,
That's the
your
funny
fake
thing, you know.
spring and go back.
You say that, that's hilarious because one of my first moments in Greece that I'm always going to remember is walking by one of the courts and hearing the kids, you know, playing outside, and they were speaking Greek, but I could tell like what he was doing, like he was making the shot and he shot the shot. And, you know, in America when we do that, we be like Kobe, everybody does Kobe, and he was like Spanulis. He said it. I died laughing. I was like, really? I was like, but it makes sense because these kids grew up on these players. These young kids grew up on these legends that we're talking about now. The Spanulises, the ΔΙΑΜΑΝΤΙΔΗs, the Sergio Rodriguez's, the Sergio Yules, Nando De Colos, you know, the Navarros, Juan Carlos Navarros. Like, they grew up on these players. And so when they're saying that that's what they grew up, they didn't grow up on Chris Paul. They didn't grow up on Kobe. They know, I mean, they know Kobe. They know Michael Jordan. They know these players. But no, they grew up watching these guys every single day. EuroLeague, coming to the game, you see the whole city pull up to Oaxaca. You see the whole city pull up the peace and friendship. You see the whole city pull up in Belgrade. Like, everybody's coming to see. So
When
yeah,
when I used to play, I used to say I'm Marko Jaric. I know. I hope you know Marko Jaric, of course.
I do know Marco Yards. I do know Marco Yards. That's hilarious.
Who was the player that James GKIST wanted to be as a kid?
Sean Kemp, Amari Stoudemire, Tracy McGrady, those type players, man. I was always the one that wanted to just like try to dunk on anybody and everybody. If I felt like there was an opportunity or a lane, or I just had a step, you know, I could just gauge the court like that. Like if I knew I could see the lane, I knew if I got to one point, I was going to take off, and then it just took off. It became to a point where it's like either I'm gonna miss it, I'm gonna get fouled, or this is just gonna be a great fucking highlight. It was just one or the other. But that's just what my mentality was when it came to it. And the players that inspired me were the players that did that. You know, Sean Kemp was one. I used to watch Sean Kemp highlights before a lot of my games growing up. And it was just like, yeah, I'm gonna try this in the game. I tried one of his highlights one time in a game when I was in college. We played Wake Forest. I dunked on a dude, and there was a clip where Sean Kemp like dunked on somebody, and he points at him with the 2 fingers. I did that after one of my dunks, man. Got a technical foul, of course. And Coach Williams, man, he lost his mind. Took me out the game immediately. I didn't even make it down on defense, you know, after I did it. And I knew what I was doing. Coach Williams didn't know what I was doing, but in my mind, I was like, yeah, that was some Sean Kemp shit.
Okay, as usually the fans know, the last part is the flash questions, as we already mentioned to you. The first question and the most difficult, predictions for the Final Four, the 4 teams.
Yeah, it's hard right now, man. That's the thing. The EuroLeague the last 3 years has probably been the most competitive I've ever seen it. It's been really, really competitive. I like the way Paris started off the season, but I feel like they're new. You know, they got to figure it out. The second half of the season, you see that they're starting to struggle a little bit. They dropped a couple. Teams are starting to understand how they're playing, but I would say you got to throw Panathinaikos back in there because they were the EuroLeague champions from last year. They didn't change anything too much. They got some really good additions. Monaco, now that they got Nicolaitis, I mean, him and Mike teamed up. You know, they got a good thing going over there. Monaco's got a good thing going over there. Now that they got Spinoulis over there coaching, I think that that might be the right piece. Might be the piece that gets them over. So Panathinaikos, Monaco, Fenerbahce. I'm interested to see what they're capable of doing once Wade Baldwin gets back healthy. They just signed Eric McCollum, so I mean that could be something that helps them out as far as scoring. But the small ball thing could be an issue. For them. So Olympiacos looks really good.
Madrid, Real?
Madrid's starting to look better, but they started out really bad. You know, they started out really bad. Okay, it's Madrid. So you're saying they're bad because they're losing, but it's Madrid. They're not supposed to lose, right? That's respect. It's not disrespect. They started out the season bad. They're starting to pick up and find some steam. But I think that it comes to playoff matchups now with the way that the league is breaking down and the positions that you have, you start to look at who you're matching up with in the next couple of months. And that's going to determine a lot. That's why it's so hard to predict the playoffs right now. Because the teams that are really good, they might match up with somebody that's not good for them. It doesn't mean that they're a bad team. It just might be a really bad matchup. And so for sure say locks are Panathinaikos and Monaco. I want to say Olympiacos and Fener, but I'm on the edge.
Who do you think will win in the end, James?
Ole, 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 ole. Where we going, man? Panathinaikos the whole time, man.
Okay.
You cover us, buddy. Really, you cover us. I'm gonna chant that tomorrow because as we record that video, it's 13th of January, and tomorrow, 14 we play with Barcelona. I will be in Barcelona.
Yeah.
And then I'm taking the train. I'm going to Baskonia. I'm gonna chant this for you also, buddy.
Please do, man. Please do, because I know you felt that energy. You felt that energy. So I know they're going to feel that energy too.
I hope maybe this is an invitation for you. When you come to Greece, we're going to go together and you're going to go up the stands with your buddy, Stefan Lasme, and you're going to do the...
Yes. That's a dream of mine. It's on my bucket list. I promise you, the day I come back to Athens and I can actually sit and watch a game of Panathinaikos play, man, I want to go to Gate 13. I want to go to Gate 13.
Just call me. I can make it happen. I truly can make it happen, 100%.
I want to go to Gate 13, man, because that right there, and I see it with the new arena. They moved Gate 13. They moved it. It's not in the same place, not in that back corner anymore.
No. They had to put them a bit away from the opponent coach and the opponent bench.
How bad?
Unfortunately, this is the situation right now. We're trying to be more civilized. We are managing to do very, very well. And we're trying to keep up the atmosphere, actually. The last game I was inside with Partizan, I can tell you, the energy was like before, like
yeah.
Yeah, I felt it. I felt it really, really deep in my heart. I was following for many years.
I love it, man. I definitely, I hope one day I can definitely make it out there. It's tough right now, trying to transition, not playing anymore. I also got family, got 3 kids, got my wife. It's a lot that I'm trying to manage, so it's hard to try to get over there and take some time away. But, man, if y'all understood how much I want to come back to Athens just to see everybody, I want to come back. I want to come back. It'll be amazing.
I feel you 1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. Because I don't live in Athens anymore, so for me it's also... this emotion is very, 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 very hard. So, James, tell me, who are your top 5 teammates of all time?
Top 5 teammates?
Yep.
Come on, we know one. Just give us the other
I
three.
know 2. You know 1. I know 2.
Possibly, yes.
It'd be Steph Lasme for sure, Mike Batiste, Marcus Williams. Man, you really got me thinking. I can't choose, man. Got to throw Nick Kalathis in there, man. That's Wolfpack. I got my guys from my 4th year. No, not my 4th year. My 5th year in Powell. I got to say Mike James, Chris Singleton, and Kenny Gabriel, man. Those are like, I can't choose 5. It's not possible.
Okay.
It's not possible. I can't choose 5.
I remember the song that we sung with Mitoglu, Kenny Gabriel, and Thanasis. This was hilarious. Do you remember?
KG, Kenny was like, you know why? Yeah, I remember that, man. I remember that. It was funny.
Hey,
Yeah, it was funny.
This question was supposed to be the last question, but I have to ask you something. Speaking about these years,
Okay.
Recently, you posted an answer about a bus situation. Do you remember something about this story?
Oh man, the bus ride. The funniest thing about that was when he posted the emoji, the bus emoji. I laughed so hard because it's like, all right, if you never did it before, you could just be like, he playing around. He ain't serious. So he ain't gonna make nobody go on the bus. But he did it before. you can't sit there and act like he wouldn't do it. He did it. You can't call his bluff on that. So for me, it was funny. It definitely brought back some memories. But it is what it is. Bygones be bygones. It's always gonna be a story I'm gonna have to tell. I'm gonna have a story to tell. Be like, man, I took a bus ride from Turkey to Greece, 17 hours. 17 hours.
Did you stop for food in McDonald's or something?
Yeah.
Or it was straight up?
Nah, it wasn't straight. You had to stop. You got to stop to use the bathroom every few hours. That's why it took so long. I think initially it probably would have been like 14 or 15 hours, but because of the stops and things like that. And I mean, if you think of the map of what we drove through, man, like we drove through a lot of stuff, a lot of places in different territories. So, I mean, it was just a long trip. It was a long trip.
I know the feeling not so much because I never lost a game and somebody had to make this decision. I make this decision for myself. I'm taking my car from Germany to Greece all the time. So
Yeah.
I know that your phone is going to be dead. You're not going to have another at some point. You have to sit with your thoughts for a long time. And I remember Nikos Papas was saying, I was dead inside at some point. I didn't know. I asked the driver where we are and was like, we need 300 kilometers for Thessaloniki. And he was like, we are 6 hours here.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it was crazy. You definitely got to figure it out. For me, I was pissed. So nobody bothered me. I was pissed. I don't have a conversation with anybody. I thought it was complete bullshit, but it was what it was.
Last question, and we release you. Best moments for your career and worst moment of your career.
It's hard to say, man, which the best moment is, but I'd probably say winning my first championship as a professional, which was when I was in Partizan. Like holding up a national trophy where like the whole city, country, Belgrade, Serbia, all of that was really like, they wanted that win. We won the Adriatic League that year. I won 3 championships that year. We won the Adriatic, we won the Serbian Cup, and then we won the Serbian National Final Trophy. That was, can't replace that feeling. I mean, just the first time you win, it becomes addictive. You want it again and again and again and again. Again, it's just one of those things. You gotta, once you experience that, all the work that you put in, especially after all the practices and the training. And you talking about Serbia, like we 2 hours a day, every day, in the morning and in the evening, twice a day. We put in a lot of work. That was a difficult season. And when we won and to be able to hold up a trophy at the end of the year, that was huge. And then after that, to be able to continue to do that throughout my career was big. It was big. The hardest part of my career might have been when I got hurt playing for Panathinaikos. I played against Madrid, November. And it was fourth quarter, man. It was fourth quarter. I think it was a 3-point game at that. We started making a run. We started making a push, and I got hurt. I went down, and I tore my abductor. And that feeling, I would never. First of all, I wish on any man. I don't wish that on nobody. But in that moment, you know that you're not able to even walk. Walk, more or less, play the game of basketball. I can't even walk. I can't even stand up right now. So like that right there was a moment where I was just like, I thought everything was gone in the blink of an eye. Everything was gone. I can't. That feeling is just like, you know, it's unmatched. It's unmatched when something that you love is taken from you. And so that was a low part, and I was glad that I was able to rehab. You know, I want to thank ＰANATHÍNAMΚΟ, Dr. Baram out of New York that helped me out, recover, surgery and all that stuff, got me back. Nikos, the trainers, Giannis, all of those guys, man, they really helped me back. We did pull workouts every day to get back. Giannis was with me every day doing this. That was a low part of my career, and I'm just glad that I was able to keep playing the game that I love.
So, James, we reached the end of our interview. I hope that you enjoyed. It seems that you had a good time, but I had to ask.
Of course. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. I hope that, you know, this thing goes good for you guys and it helps the cast and everything going forward and growing. And y'all keep growing, man. You're doing a really good job with this.
Thank you very, very much,
Thank you very
James.
much.
It was very nice to have you here, and it was very nice to share all these stories with us and with people watching us.
For sure, I got you.
And who knows, maybe in the future we will meet again.
Maybe so. Hope so. We get some souvlaki, man. Get some souvlaki.
We
I would
have
love
to-
it. I miss
we
it.
have to make a cross interview. with
Oh,
your
a cross
buddy,
interview?
with
Okay,
Stefan.
I will tell you a secret. I will tell you a secret now. Me and Christoforos already had a message to someone that you know very well to
Okay.
have a crossover episode, but he didn't came and he didn't show up. You were lucky this time. It was someone that you know very, very well.
Really?
He couldn't
Sounds
make
good.
it. He couldn't make it.
Sounds good, man. I'm open for everything, man. I'm always good. I'm good at learning on the fly, jumping on the fly, man. That's part of being a basketball player. Got to make quick reactions, quick decisions. Got to be good at that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
No problem.